it, aren't we, Matthew? But first of all, we've got news about the world's most important central bank about to get a new boss.
That's right. More goings on in Washington when President Obama later this Wednesday will name Janet Yellen as the new head of the central bank, the Federal Reserve. There we can see Janet Yellen now. She'll be getting a 4-year term starting in January, and she will be the first woman to run the Federal Reserve. Now, she's been there for a while. She knows how the place works because she's been the vice chair since 2010. And there's also a lot of expectation that she will continue with the sort of policies we've seen, in particular this low interest policy designed to help the economy and in particular to get unemployment down. Meanwhile, as you were saying, the other things going on in Washington, of course, is the shutdown, which is now entering its 9th day, and the markets in the US suffering again, as we saw earlier this week. In fact, the Nasdaq down by 2%. That was its biggest fall for 6 weeks. It's, of course, the debt ceiling as well that's really worrying investors. But calmer heads, it seems, in Asia, where we've even seen the Nikkei in Japan making some gains. The Kospi in South Korea, that's closed for a public holiday. Lots of public holidays there in Asia at the moment. Now, another share that we've been keeping an eye on is Alcatel-Lucent. Now, they were down 4% by the close in Paris on Tuesday. That was after the company announced 10,000 job cuts, and 900 of those are here in France, and that led the government on Tuesday to call on Alcatel-Lucent to really try to limit. Of course, France is struggling with a very high unemployment rate. Well, one of the challenges for Alcatel-Lucent has been the rise of Chinese competitors like Huawei. It's become a giant in the sector, as Catherine Viette now reports.
Welcome to Huawei's headquarters in Shenzhen in southern China. It's the world's largest telecommunications equipment maker. 30,000 people work at this location. It's China's largest private company, with 27 billion euros in revenue. Not bad for a garage startup founded in 1987.
In the 80s, China had one telephone line per village. So the company arrived at the right time. Now Huawei serves about a third of the global population.
Huawei's heart and soul is research and development. 14% of its revenue is reinvested, and about 75,000 employees work in the R&D department. For example, these machines are used to test equipment such as transmitters in extreme conditions. Huawei is changing the training model. Instead of Chinese going to Europe or America, the company is now coming to Europe to seek employees.
There are a lot of good talents thanks to the education system. And for example, on the mathematics and design, the artists. So that's why we decide to increase the local investment, especially on the R&D investments in France.
China's moving from corporate globalization into a globalization of talent.
Okay, going to come back to France now. Company bosses sending a bit of a warning shot to the president, aren't they?
That's right. He's got quite a lot on his plate, but two big organisations that represent company bosses met in the French city of Lyon on Tuesday, and there you can see them. They were calling for reductions in taxes. They say they're too high, particularly when compared with neighbouring Germany. Let's listen to the presidents of those two organisations.
How can we compete when 50% of the salaries we pay as social charges, while in Germany it's 32%? That's a reality.
The company bosses today in France are not happy. They're suffering. They feel that nobody listens, yet they could hold a solution to the current employment issues, the solution to trade and the problems of growth and of wealth. And that is why we're here, to listen to them.
Okay, well, let's get some more of the day's company news now. And sales of fast food, including Kentucky Fried Chicken and Pizza Hut, have nosedived in China. The restaurant owner Yum Brands reporting a 68% drop in profits there for the latest quarter. The company is still struggling to recover from a controversy over its chicken supply, and the bird flu outbreak has also hit results.
The steelmaker ArcelorMittal investing 92 million euros here in France. The company is going to refurbish one of the furnaces at its Dunkirk site in the north of the country. ArcelorMittal has been right at the centre of a political dispute after shutting another site in France earlier this year.
And tension growing for the struggling Italian airline Alitalia. The Italian oil giant Eni says that it will cut off fuel supplies if bills don't get paid. Well, hope's now resting on a possible deal with Air France KLM. It has a 25% stake in the Italian carrier, but the Air France chief executive has said conditions for helping Alitalia are very strict.
Business at this time every hour between 6 and 10 in the morning, Paris time with Matthew. Thanks very much. Now, the latest internet craze of twipping.